We're gonna remove the wheel, use a 22mm socket, take the lug nuts off. And pull the wheel off. We're gonna loosen up this jam nut, use a 15/16 wrench or a 24mm. Just break it free, like that. Before I take this nut off, I'm just gonna use some rust penetrant and just soak it down a little bit. Now I'm just gonna take a pry bar and just pry down on the top part of the tie rod and underneath the lower strut. And take an 18mm socket. As I'm prying down, loosen up the nut and take it off. Now to separate the outer tie rod from the knuckle, I'm just going to take a hammer and tap on the bottom part. Just tap it up. There we go. Because this tie rod's a little bit on the tight side, I'm going to use some locking pliers on the inner tie rod. And then we're going to loosen this tie rod up. So spin it, and you want to count the threads. So that was 1, and then 2, 17, 18, about 18 turns. So you want to write that number down. Take the outer tie rod and get this started. And count the threads. So that was 1, 2, 17, 18. So wherever you had it, tighten the tie rod on that many turns. That'll just make it closer when the vehicle goes to get aligned. It's not as far out. Now take the tie rod, line it up with the knuckle. And slide it down. And then take the castle nut and get that started underneath. All right. Now use a pry bar. Just pry down on the tie rod. I'm just gonna snug up the nut a little bit before we torque it. Not too tight. Now use a torque wrench and torque this to 26 foot-pounds, and then you can use an angle meter and torque this an additional 30 degrees. If you don't have an angle meter, just do the best you can. Then take the cotter pin and slide it into the tie rod. And if it doesn't line up, you can tighten the nut just slightly more just to get it to line up. A little more. That's good. Take some side cutters. And just bend the cotter pin down. Fold it over, and you can trim the excess. Now tighten this jam nut down. If you have the ability to torque it, use a torque wrench and torque that to 50 foot-pounds, or do the best you can. Now install the wheel. Just grab those lug nuts and put the lug nuts on. Now I'm going to torque the lug nuts to 111 foot-pounds in a cross pattern or a star pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. I'll just go around again, double check. You want to keep in mind that after you've done this job, you need to take the vehicle to a local garage and have it aligned. You don't want to have premature tire wear.